Yeah, so boots, it's boot season. Hey, Greg, start house. Okay, remember our video we did last year that said you should take mind of your boots really throughout the season, but we did like this year end, well, how should we store our boots? What should we do to our boots? And I think one of the things that we talked about was having a look at your toes and heels. A lot of boots have replaceable toes and heels that if you catch them early enough, it's really easy to do. You just screws out, new plates on, screws in. All the companies offer this nifty bag. They come with screws, or at least normally they do, and wham bam. These are getting done because this boot actually failed the binding release test, and the reason it did is you can see this ridge of plastic right here. As this skier walked through the parking lot and kept dragging his or her feet and heels with probably every step, it drug some of the plastic back, kind of proud of the heel back there. So, so this boot wouldn't pop out of the binding and failed the test. It needs the soles anyway, so let's just replace the soles. If you weren't sure, you would take some sort of, us as skiers usually have a, pretend there's a wax scraper, because that's what we like to use, and we'll lay the wax scraper on there and kind of see, like, this isn't flat back here, and it's not a huge deal back here, but it's super important up in this toe. And this one's actually not too bad, but I've seen these really convexed before, and it's super bad, because when that's in the binding, it's able to wiggle a little bit back and forth, and of course that's not good for power transfer into the ski. So, if you catch these early enough, it's as easy as, I mean, at home, you can just use a hand screwdriver. Since we do this all day, we tend to use the power tools. But it's as easy as pulling the old hardware out. This too, you see how this screw's in pretty good shape? And this one, because it's gotten ground into, I've seen these get, this one's actually a little better shape. This is kind of what they look like new, and this one's starting to get ground. When this gets to a point where you lose the tooling on these get extremely difficult to remove. So that's another thing that can end up biting you in the butt down the road a little bit. So there's screw holes in there. If you are going to use a drill, slow setting and really low on the clutch, because this is just plastic, and if you over torque these, I've seen people strip these screws out. It's really easy to do. I barely snug them up with the hand tool, or with the power driver, and then I use a hand tool just to snug them up when I'm done, because I don't like stripping the screws either. Okay, toes off. We'll go for high speed for the off portion here. Okay. So slow speed, low clutch, new screws. And I'm just barely snugging stuff up here. These don't need to be tight at all. You just need to make them snug up against the boot shell. Okay. And then something else that happens when you let this go too long is, if you look in here, this isn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, but there is a gap in here. And what we're going to do is we're going to backfill this with, there's two things we use. When it's minor like this, we actually use a pretty handy UV glue, where I just drizzle some special glue in there, and then a UV pen quickly flashes it and hardens it. If they get really big, we use this product called Fixall, which is a pretty fast curing ultra hard epoxy that does a really good job at filling those gaps, because as you can imagine, when you're walking through the parking lot, this takes a lot of force back here and you don't want gaps in there. If this gap was bigger and you let this go, snow would get in there, especially when they're in the toe. I'll bet this toe is pretty bad. Especially at the toe, a lot of snow drives in there, and this one's actually pretty bad. So I might use Fixall in this one, because that's sort of on the edge of what I consider too much to... The UV glue only has so much magic in it. So I'll probably Fixall this one, and I'll show you how we do that typically in here. The Fixall is a little on the pricey side. But it's really, we've tried other stuff. We've tried cheaper products and it just doesn't work. Okay, so snug, snug. Okay, so we'll do UV glue first. We'll do that one back here. So UV resin, UV flashlight, and on this, we'll just put, do it this way, the eyes of me. You just get a little of that in there. Now this stuff, in just this environment, would stay liquid for a long time. However, with this handy dandy pen, we're just gonna flash over here. And I think this is like 15-second cure time with this UV pen, which is the other reason that we like to use it, because a lot of people just roll in here at 4 o'clock after skiing, and if we can turn these around for folks on the quick, that's what we like to do, instead of tying up the boot for a day in the store. So, and this glue now, that glue is good. This is still going to cure a little bit, just being out in the world, but for now that's plenty good. And what I'm going to do next is after I fix this toe and that dries, I'm going to take some sandpaper on a flapper burr and I'm going to smooth this out a little bit. The Fixall is this stuff, and then they sell these ridiculously expensive tips. Now I try not to use the tips as much as possible just because I'm cheap, but on this one I think we're going to have to. The tip does mix it. On a more broad job, I'll just squirt a little of this on a little sheet of metal, and I'll just mix it up with a screwdriver, smush it in there, and then I'll show you how we kind of just get the beginnings of the finish gone. But we're going to have to use a tip on this one because I can definitely get the glue in there better. So this will mix it going up through the tube, because it's a 2-part epoxy, and I'm going to let the first little bit pass because I want to make sure that the Fixall that I'm using is well mixed. And sometimes that first centimeter that comes out of the tube isn't properly mixed, and the whole point here is to get a nice fill of something that's going to get nice and firm. Now, this is a little proud, as we say, and what I'll do to make my finish work a little easier is I'll take a piece of tape, because Starthouse runs on blue tape. I'm just going to mush that down, and it just begins to smooth it out, and it actually pushes it down in that joint a little harder. And in about 10 minutes, I'll come back, I'll rip that tape off, the stuff will be hardened by then, and I'll come in with a flapper burr and we'll finish this up, we'll finish off this heel, and the boots will be done. Now, you can avoid all that, and you can do the sole replacement on the dining room table at home with just a Phillips screwdriver and a sole pack that we can hand you over the counter. When we, I found a boot in service that this is pretty common to what we see. So like these screws, these guys are okay, plenty good here. But back here, especially always this lateral side is what grinds down the most. So this, I'll still be able to get this out of here, but we're getting pretty close here. And when it's one, it's okay, because if I can get these guys out, I can just rip this plate off, and then this screw sticks out a little bit, and I can grab onto this with vice grips, because it'll be a little proud of the shell, and I'll be able to get it out of there. But I have had these completely ground out back here, where I've had to get a different style of plate with a different hole pattern and work around those old broken off or ground off screws, because at some point they get literally impossible to get out of there. So this is one thing you don't want to do. And then the biggie, all this so far has been repairable, but then if you really push the envelope, you get into this. And this is new boot time, because this will fail a visual inspection on a binding mount, and this would probably fail the test, just because there's so little plastic interfacing the binding. This is definitely not safe. Ski racer boots, like, I mean, these kids are in these boots 100 days a year, easy. So we actually, on solid sole boots like this, we always recommend some sort of plating on this boot, because this gives you a chance to replace and not have to monkey around with doing any funny business. We got some creative solutions for this stuff too. We sell a Vibram sole that's pretty popular. I've got one of those here. So Head makes this. It's still a standard DIN interface at the binding, toe and heel, but this is a full-on race boot. This is an RS 130 LV. I guess it's not full-on, but this is a spicy boot. And this enables you to have some traction when you're out of the ski, billy goating around, and then obviously replaceability down the road as you wear this stuff away. So this is, we do a ton of this stuff in the winter. Popular move on boots like this. Dry, this has been dry. So this, been about 10 minutes. And this is good. If you didn't care, you probably just run this, but we care. So we're gonna clean this up a little bit. So we use Fordham. It's like a big kid's Dremel tool. And the flapper burr, pretty classic boot tool. Okay, and that's that. Don't do this, just replace them early. Okay, new it is Fixall, paid, G Stone, done. Done. Okay, we're still live?
Yeah.
Is this happening?
Yeah.
Okay, so they make stuff so your boots don't look like all the boots you just saw. The classic are cat tracks. So this is just a little stretchy. They come in a few sizes. This snaps over the toe lug. This goes on the heel lug. And then this protects bottom of the boot. So in this boots, you would go like a this and like a this. And then wham bam. You got traction. You got rubber sole in there, and most importantly, you got some protection. This particular brand is kind of nice because this can fold up pretty small and go into a jacket pocket. I know some people that use these and bring me 3- and 4-year-old boots, and the bottoms, I swear to you, they look almost brand new. It's amazing. We're gonna put links to this in the description for this thing, cat tracks. This is a more Mondo version. They're adjustable via this system in here. They're a little thicker. They're a little tougher to get into a jacket pocket, although not impossible, especially if you're a size large or bigger men's coat. Probably not a problem at all putting these in here. And again, same sort of situation here. Lots of traction, really big lugs down here, nice and thick. And again, same story in these. Like, people that use these all the time don't have sole issues with their boots, and they stay snow-free. And again, links in the description is where you're going to find this stuff. Okay, that's my whole story about replacement soles. Bye.